You know what's wild? You can drop 20 pounds on the scale and still look down at that belly fat, which feels like a stubborn child who just doesn't listen. And here's why that's actually terrifying. That fat you're staring at isn't just sitting there looking bad in your jeans. There's another kind of fat you can't even see, and it's wrapped around your liver right now, squeezing your pancreas, suffocating your organs from the inside out. And that invisible fat is literally setting the stage for diabetes, heart disease, fatty liver, and even cancer. I urge you to stay with me until the end because I am about to show you something most doctors won't tell you. This dangerous fat is actually the easiest to lose once you understand how to target it. And I'm going to give you the exact natural strategy that works faster than anything else that I know, including some powerful herbs for my ebook titled Healing Over 40 Using Natural Remedies that can accelerate this whole process just for you. So let's talk about what you're really dealing with here. That belly fat isn't just one problem, it's two. You've got the fat right under your skin that jiggles when you move. And then underneath that, wrapped around your stomach, your liver, and your intestines, you've got visceral fat. And visceral fat is pumping out inflammatory chemicals every single day, disrupting your hormones, messing with your insulin, basically turning your body into a time bomb. This is the fat driving the modern diseases I just mentioned. This is what's killing us slowly. And the crazy part, most people are walking around with no idea how much of this fat they have, because did you know that you can be thin and still be packed with visceral fat? Yes, indeed. Now, here's where it gets interesting. What you eat every single day is either feeding this dangerous fat or starving it to death. And one of the most powerful weapons that we have against visceral fat comes straight from nature. And that's carotenoids. Carotenoids. So, anyways, you've heard of antioxidants, right? Well, carotenoids are some of the most potent ones out there. And they're hiding in plain sight in colorful vegetables. These are the compounds that make carrots, orange tomatoes, red tomatoes, and spinach have that deep dark green. But they're not just pretty pigments. Carotenoids are literally changing how your digestive system flows. Here's what happens. Visceral fat builds up because of energy excess that eventually creates massive inflammation and completely wrecks your metabolism. Free radicals are also flying around in the air, damaging your cells, and your body just can't keep up. Carotenoids come in and neutralize those free radicals. They calm the inflammation down, and then something incredible happens. They actually turn on the genes that tell your body to burn fat and turn off the genes that tell your body to store fat. Your body literally starts working for you instead of against you. And we're not just talking about theory here. There was this fascinating double-blind study in Japan where they had people eat carotenoid-rich vegetables for just 8 weeks. Yes, you heard right, I said 8 weeks. And the results? Significant reduction in visceral fat, especially in the group eating carrots and cabbage that were high in lycopene. But get this, all 4 groups eating colorful vegetables lost visceral fat. So you don't have to obsess over which specific carotenoids you're getting. Just eat the rainbow. What do I mean by that? Load up on carrots, sweet potatoes, bell peppers, squash, spinach, kale, and tomatoes. Any colorful vegetable or food is probably loaded with some type of carotenoids that's going to help you melt that visceral fat away. Now, I'm going to tell you about another compound in a minute that's even more powerful. But first, let me show you how this ties into something that I discovered while I was researching natural remedies for my ebook, because carotenoids are just the beginning. Okay, so after carotenoids, I know I'm not pronouncing this properly, but you need to know about catechins. These are flavonoid polyphenols, and they work like antioxidants on steroids, crushing inflammation and completely changing how your body handles fat. And my favorite way to get catechins is green tea. You've heard about green tea and how it burns fat, right? Well, it actually does, and catechins are the reason why. These compounds get into your cells and flip switches that change everything about fat metabolism. First, catechins boost fat oxidation and crank up your energy expenditure. They stimulate your nervous system to burn more fat and speed up your metabolism naturally. But they also do something sneaky. They block the enzyme lipase, which means the fat you eat doesn't even get absorbed in the first place. It just passes through. And when you combine catechins with the natural caffeine in green tea, you get this synergistic effect that makes the fat burning even stronger. They work together like a 1-2 punch. And again, we've got science backing this up. There was a double-blind placebo-controlled study in Japan as well, where people drank catechin-enriched green tea for 12 weeks, about 600 milligrams of catechins daily, and they saw significant reductions in visceral fat. Not just belly fat overall, but that dangerous visceral fat specifically. Now, most green teas have catechins, but if you really want to maximize this, go for minimally processed varieties like matcha or sencha. These are the ones where the catechins are most concentrated and bioavailable. And here's where I want to bring in something from my ebook, Healing Over 40 Using Natural Remedies, because green tea isn't the only herb that attacks visceral fat. Ginger root is another powerhouse that works beautifully alongside green tea. Ginger contains gingerols and sugarals, which are compounds that reduce inflammation, improve insulin sensitivity, and actually enhance thermogenesis, which is just a fancy way of saying it makes your body produce more heat and burn more calories. That's all it's saying. When you combine ginger with green tea, you're creating a natural fat-burning formula that targets visceral fat from multiple angles. Another herb that I detail in my ebook is turmeric, specifically the compound curcum. Curcum has been shown in studies to reduce visceral adipose tissue by blocking the formation of new fat cells and reducing inflammation at the cellular level. And cinnamon, Ceylon cinnamon to be specific, helps regulate blood sugar and insulin, which is critical because insulin resistance is one of the main drivers of visceral fat accumulation. These aren't just random herbs. They're targeted tools that address the root causes of why visceral fat builds up in the first place. Now, look, at the end of the day, anything that creates a calorie deficit will help you lose weight and lose visceral fat. That's just thermodynamics in one sentence. But targeting these specific foods, drinks, and herbs gets you there so much faster because you're not just cutting calories, you're actively changing your body's internal environment. You're reducing inflammation, improving insulin sensitivity, turning on fat-burning genes, and all of that stuff wrapped into one. You're fixing the broken metabolism that created the problem in the first place. But here's the thing, and this is where it gets really interesting. Diet alone isn't enough if you want to lose visceral fat fast. You need exercise, and not just any exercise. The right kind of exercise becomes this magical multiplier that takes everything you're doing with food and herbs and amplifies it tenfold. There's a massive meta-analysis that looked at 117 studies, and here's what they found. Both diet and exercise reduce visceral fat, but diet has a bigger effect on total body weight, while exercise has superior effect on visceral fat specifically. So if you want to target that dangerous fat around your organs, you have to move your body. And the amount of exercise you need might surprise you because it's way less than you think. There's this older study that's absolutely mind-blowing. They had people do just 2 45-minute cycling sessions each week at 75% of their VO2 peak. And they did this for 2 months. Just 2 sessions a week. That's it. And in 2 months, they reduced visceral fat by 48%. Almost half of it gone. Not only that, they improved insulin sensitivity by 41% and lost 18% of subcutaneous fat. This was moderate intensity exercise, the level where you can still hold a conversation and speak in full sentences, but you sound just a little weird. All right? I hope you're getting something from this. I'm going fast because this video is going to be a little long, on the long side, and I'm trying to get you through it. All right? So let's continue. And here's the kicker. Their total body weight stayed about the same. They didn't lose weight on the scale, but their body composition completely transformed. They dropped nearly half their visceral fat and massively improved their metabolic health, even though the number on the scale barely budged. And this is something I see all the time. And I talk about this in the ebook as well. People get so discouraged when they're eating clean, taking their herbs, exercising consistently, and the scale won't move. But the scale is lying to you. The scale does not show you what's happening inside your body, which is that visceral fat melting off from your liver and the inflammation dropping and also the insulin sensitivity improving. You can't see those changes on a scale, but they are the changes that are actually saving your life. And so you need to know that. So what's the absolute best type of exercise for losing visceral fat fast? I know you're asking that. A recent systematic review that analyzed 84 randomly controlled trials found that vigorous intensity aerobic exercise and high intensity interval training are the most effective for reducing visceral fat. Resistant training was beneficial as well. Don't get me wrong, but it wasn't as effective specifically for visceral fat. Now, that doesn't mean skipping resistance training entirely. You absolutely need it for maintaining muscle mass and overall metabolic health. But if your goal over the next few months is to strip away that visceral fat as fast as possible, you need to dial up the cardio. Between high-intensity interval training, HIIT, and steady-state aerobic exercise like skipping, the research shows that they're pretty much equal. No significant difference in effectiveness for most adults. If you really want to geek out on the data, there might be a tiny signal that the running-based high-intensity interval training is slightly more effective than cycling and walking. And in younger people under 24, high intensity might edge out the traditional aerobic exercise. But honestly, we're splitting hairs at this point. As long as you are moving and your heart rate is intensifying in some way or the other, you are on the right track. So don't be hard on yourself. Here's my take. It doesn't matter if you do high intensity interval training or steady cardio, running, walking, or cycling, or rowing, or dancing, whichever works for you. The best exercise is the one that you actually do consistently, because consistency destroys the perfect plan every single time. That textbook perfect high intensity interval training protocol that you hate and only do twice a month is worthless compared to the walk you enjoy and can do 4 times per week with consistency. Based on the research, you want to aim for at least 2 to 3 sessions per week, at least 45 minutes each time, at moderate to vigorous intensity. That means getting your heart rate to about 70 to 80% of your max. If you don't track heart rate, just do the talk test. Moderate intensity means you can talk in full sentences, but you're a little out of breath, right? Vigorous intensity means you can only get out a few words before you have to pause and breathe. That's just the difference. And here's the beautiful part that I like. Exercise has this dose-dependent response. The more you do it, the better the results, up to a point. A recent study in the British Journal of Sports Medicine, it showed that people who exercised more or at a higher intensity saw proportionally greater reductions in visceral fat. But here's what's interesting. They did not see the same dose-dependent response with calorie restriction, meaning there's a limit to how much you can cut calories before you stop seeing benefits and just start wrecking your metabolism. You don't need to starve yourself to lose belly fat. That's what I'm saying. Actually, you need to do the opposite. Eat enough to fuel your activity, the exercise that you're doing. Stay in a small calorie deficit, and then gradually increase your movement and exercise if you want to accelerate visceral fat loss faster. So let me tie this all together for you, because I know I'm going fast and there's a lot of information. You want to target colorful vegetables loaded with carotenoids, such as carrots, sweet potatoes, peppers, and dark leafy greens. Drink green tea daily, ideally matcha or sencha, for maximum catechins. And if you really want to supercharge this process, add in herbs that I cover in my ebook, Healing Over 40 Using Natural Remedies. Ginger for thermogenesis and inflammation, turmeric for blocking new fat cell formation, and Ceylon cinnamon for blood sugar regulation. These natural compounds work synergistically to create an internal environment where visceral fat cannot survive. Then you're going to layer on your exercise, 2 to 3 cardio sessions per week, 45 minutes minimum, moderate to vigorous intensity. Pick something you enjoy so that you stick with it. Consistency, remember that. And don't obsess over the scale, because the real transformation is happening inside your body where you cannot see it. Your liver will begin to heal, your insulin sensitivity will begin to improve, and that deadly visceral fat will start to melt away from your organs. And that is exactly the goal that you want to achieve. This is how you fight back against the silent killer that's wrapped around your organs right now. This is how you take control of your health naturally, without drugs, without surgery, just by using real food, powerful herbs, and consistent movement. Those 3 things, you can't go wrong. Your body knows how to heal itself. You just have to give it the right tools to do so. Please make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you don't miss the next video coming up, where I'm going to share more tips to help you on your health journey. And don't forget to grab that ebook that I spoke about, Healing Over 40 Using Natural Remedies. It will give you a deeper dive than any YouTube video can. Grab it from the first link in the description. Thank you so much for watching and staying with me until the end. And guess what? I'll see you in the next video. Take care.